Lauren. This is Terry. Welcome to this week's episode of Sound the Alarm. We are joined by Rob of Punk Rock Saves Lives. How are you, Rob?
I'm good, everybody. How are y'all?
Oh, we're doing
very good.
The Southern boy in me came out there. Sorry. I grew up in the Deep South, and one of the great things about saying y'all is it's completely inclusionary.
Yes.
Yeah.
I say it all the time, and I am from New York.
Well,
I'm from Canada, and we say it.
Well, the Southern Poverty Law Center has some stickers out, and I have some somewhere, and it says "Y'all means all," and it's rainbow, and I embrace it, even though it does get some bad connotations sometimes, but I think it's a good word.
I love that. Y'all means all.
Y'all
means awesome. All. So, if that flips out.
So for people who may not know you, you are with Punk Rock Saves Lives. Can you kind of just give us the story as to, you focus a lot on mental health, and you focus a lot on bone marrow and being a donor and stuff like that. Do you mind sharing us kind of how this started?
Yeah, it's kind of cool. We were, my wife and I both were part of Love, Hope, Strength, which is another nonprofit, and I toured the world with them for 10 years. And we were specifically a cancer organization founded by, and it's funny because of your name, Sound the Alarm, founded by the lead singer of the 80s rock band, The Alarm, Mike Peters. Mike is a cancer survivor, and he considers himself one of the original punks, and he was there in 77 in England and everything. But The Alarm became like the first band to be acoustic, I guess, punk. But they're a great band. But Mike started a charity to help people with cancer all over the world. I found them about a year or two into their existence, fell in love with it after a friend of mine died, and decided I was going to do that. I volunteered for them for 2 years, and then they asked me to come to work for them. And when they did that, they asked me to move from Nashville all the way out to Denver. And then for 10 years in Denver, I toured for them almost nonstop, doing bone marrow drives all over the world, mostly the U.S., obviously, but I have been to Wales and all sorts of places to do some others. And then after 10 years on the Flogging Molly tour, the last tour they did before COVID, unfortunately, Love, Hope, Strength decided to do away with their outreach program. And when they did, that meant all the employees were going to be let go, which at the time was my wife, Tina, and I. While I'm in the middle of this Flogging Molly tour, I get the phone call where they're telling us that they're going to lay us off. And that was kind of a shock. I mean, it was my life for 10, 12 years. But after the call, I drove around for, I told them we weren't going to let them stop the work we were doing. Without being mean, I was just like, guys, we have the rest of this tour, and we have 3 more festivals booked. We can't tell these people we're not coming. It's going to make your charity look bad. Even if you don't have employees anymore, you're still going to be a nonprofit. Let's finish our word. And they agreed to that. And so I finished the Flogging Molly tour, but I'm driving around, and for the first 2 days, I'm kind of mad. I'm kind of, oh man, I can't believe they're letting us go. I can't believe they don't want to keep up the mission, and all of that. And I had long talks with Nathan Maxwell of Flogging Molly, who luckily is a dear friend. He was the best man in mine and Tina's wedding, and just an all-around amazing human. And Nathan and I talked a lot, as well as Tina and I, obviously by phone. She was home here in Denver, and I was in the middle of that tour. And then I presented to both of them my idea, and I was like, guys, we've been using the hashtag Punk Rock Saves Lives with Love, Hope, Strength to, I held up a sign that said, I swab because Punk Rock Saves Lives. And it would open the door for people at a festival to go, what does that mean? And I would tell them about the bone marrow registry. But it meant something to me because punk rock has been a lifesaver to me my whole life. I am one of those older punks. I'm 50 years old, 51 next month. And I was there. Luckily, I've had bands that played with a lot of amazing punk bands. I was lucky enough to see Black Flag at a skate park when I was 15, 14 years old. All sorts of just really rad stuff in my life. And obviously, as everybody moves and shakes, I lived in Nashville for a long time and lost touch with some of the punk rock world. And then I started really getting it back. And then when I really took the job with Love, Hope, Strength is when I really dove into bringing my punk rock and using that to save lives. So I presented to Nathan and to Tina my idea that we didn't want to give up on doing good. So let's start our own nonprofit. We'll call it Punk Rock Saves Lives. And the difference will be, even though we can still do the bone marrow drives, because the bone marrow registry still wants us to work with them, is that we can represent so much more. And we can use our community and the bands we tour with to represent causes that are near and dear to their hearts. And everybody, Nathan and Tina were like, yes, let's go. Let's do it. Let's do it. No doubt. Yeah, about 1,000 people sign up to make one match. So we're going to do that again at a lot of the big festivals when we get back to life, obviously. But we had set up the ability, and luckily we made a phone call to Justin Sane from Anti-Flag, and he immediately was like, what can I do to help you get this on? And we put him on the board of directors, and here we go. You know, our first thing with Punk Rock Saves Lives instead of Love, Hope, Strength was the Flogging Molly cruise. We literally finished our work with Love, Hope, Strength, and a week and a half later got on the cruise and launched Punk Rock Saves Lives. And that was in November of 2019.
Oh, wow.
So
you're still new in this.
We're pretty new.
Yeah.
But we came back to Denver after the cruise. I actually toured home. Tina had set up an awesome trip, a once-in-a-lifetime trip to go to, basically right when we got off the boat, she went with a girlfriend to Greece. And Tina's heritage is Greek, so it was really cool for her to get to go. So instead of just driving home in our RV, I actually toured home from the boat with Pennywise, the Bronx, and Authority Zero. And they were leaving the cruise and basically touring all the way back to Denver.
Wow.
So I followed them. We hung out. I set up a little table every night. I at first I was just hanging out with Authority Zero and making sure their merch was cool. That's one of my old professions, was merch guy. And I toured back with them, and as the tour went on, we started adding things. Like we had some Punk Rock Saves Lives merch. We had some skateboards. And so Authority Zero and the guys at Pennywise signed a bunch of skateboards for us and stuff. And we kind of auctioned them off every night to raise some money to start, make sure the charity had. And it was a great first one. And got back to Denver, was getting everything set up. I left in early March to join the Anti-Flag tour coming out of Canada. They played 2 dates in Canada, and I was going to meet them in Vermont. And the night before I was meeting them, I stopped in Rochester, New York. And if you guys know the awesome Irish punk band 1916, if you don't, look up 1916 band. Phenomenal band and phenomenal guys. Billy Herring's also an amazing tattoo artist there in Rochester. If you ever want to, I still don't have a Billy tat, but I'm getting one. Matter of fact, Tina bought me a Billy tat for Christmas last year, but we haven't gotten to Rochester to get them. So, but I did stop on the way to that tour. I parked in Billy's driveway and was sleeping in the camper when I got the call from Anti-Flag that unfortunately, after the 2 Canadian dates, America was basically shutting down and they were having to cancel the whole tour. So our first tour as Punk Rock Saves Lives, real one, just bit the dust, and I'm trying to figure out what to do. So I turn around and drive back to Denver, and we're brainstorming, and we got back here, and that's when I just kind of, after a week or two of us being in lockdown, one day I went on Facebook by myself, and I was just doing what at that time I called a PMA session, and I just started talking, just me on Facebook from Punk Rock Saves Lives, going, hey guys, and answering questions and everything. And it was a hit. And we proceeded to really launch into the PMA sessions, which, if I can get it turned the right way, there you go. Little Bad Brains PMA on my arm. So PMA is very important. And so we were trying to figure out what we could do as a mission as we were in lockdown. And, as of right now, we still don't know how long we're going to be in lockdown. We're there. Everybody, everybody's doing the best. And coming out of that, our mental health aspects started really blooming out of the PMA sessions, to the point that Dan Falkenthal, our mental health advocate, and Tina launched the mental health side. And we have Punk Rock Saves Lives Mental Health Initiative. So there's a separate Facebook page in there, if you a group that you can join, and it's an open, safe space. We're very clear on that. It has to be a safe space. You can open up, you can get help there, not only from peers, but from possibly we can get you to the next level, to a licensed therapist. We're in the talks with 2 amazing organizations right now that do actual licensed therapy, and they want to work with us because of our artist connections. And so we're trying to work it out where we can use them to refer people to that need the next step. It's going to be really, really cool. So as you can tell through our first year, we're still finding out who we really are, but we've made so many strides. Tina did a recap of the first year, and this first year has really been in lockdown, but I think we had over 80 hours of mental health live content online, and that was us talking, and the Punk Rock Saves, they do a grief group, all stuff. Tina's had a real rough go this year. We've had a couple of big losses in her life, so she got into grief counseling and then brought it to us, and she's doing that too with a grief group. Dan does another talking group, and so we stay in touch with the Bone Marrow Registry, and they're ready for us to get back out there when life lets us get back out there. We'll be doing that. The American Diabetes Association is something dear to me as a diabetic. We really encourage donating blood, platelets, plasma, everything you can right now, because people do it. And I've been donating a ton. I posted up when I truly believe in this world that we should lead by example, and no one should ever tell you to do something unless they're willing to get in there themselves and do it. So there's Punk Rock Saves Lives in a nutshell. Please look at the website and check out. We have an amazing group of board members. We have an amazing advisory board, which my thought with the advisory board was just to get a bunch of our musician friends, our artist friends, our tattoo friends that are there when we're ready to do something. We can put the word out to them and go, hey, what do you think of this? And what can we do to do it better? Can we come on tour with you to do it better? And stuff like that. It hadn't had a lot to do this year because nobody's had a lot to do this year. But we've had some incredible things, and a lot of our advisory board participated in our Punks and Pets collaboration we did, and all sorts of cool stuff like that. So it's growing every day.
You guys actually have a sweatshirt coming up on pre-sale that you were telling us before, and what's that going to be going towards?
Well, it's a lightweight, water-resistant jacket. It just finished pre-ordering, but we'll order a couple of extras. So there will be some on the website. You never just get exactly, but it was Leland Fallon, our artist liaison, who came over when we founded Punk Rock Saves Lives. He had worked with Music for Cancer out of Canada for a long time, and it just kind of come to an end with it. And he and I were like talking, and I was like, it sounds like you want to come. It sounds like you're just coming over with us. And he was like, okay. And so when we got to the Flogging Molly cruise, even though it was in Miami and in the Bahamas, he showed up with these jackets, and he only made 6 of them, and they're incredible, and they have our logo embroidered in. And it was me, Tina, Leland, and his wife Maggie, Josh Kramer, our main artist and skateboarding freak, love him to death. Fireman, he's one of the best people in the world, and Nathan Maxwell were the only 6 people that had these jackets. And every time we wore them, or somebody saw it online, they were like, "Oh my God, how do I get one of those?" So we decided to do a pre-order on it. The original 6 were North Face jackets, and to do that, it would have been $150, $170 jacket, and that's not the punk rock world. Nobody would have ordered them; it would have been too expensive. So we found, and luckily, Spar Customs is our main merch guy, and that's Dabbles Dave out of California. He works hand in hand with Hepcat. He works hand in hand with Bucko9, a lot of rad bands. But he's on our advisory board, and he does most of our merch. The name Spar Customs is because he does a lot of the Bellator fighters gear. So he's really good at getting stuff done pretty darn quick, because that Bellator stuff, they might know a week before what the sponsors are and everything. So
the fighters are even.
Yeah. So he's been fantastic with getting us merch and everything. We do work with Gabby, and both of you have both. I see the Venomous Peaks poster and a Venomous Peaks shirt. And
We love them.
We love Gabby and we love Drea, and I honestly haven't met the new drummer yet, but I will.
Cassie, she's so nice.
She seems like it, and she really gave them the concise, finished band that they've needed for a long time. So it's really cool. I love them. I actually have their skateboard hanging in here somewhere. But we are sponsored by Earth too. If you don't know, we're part of all those skateboards. We're part of that Earth family, and we have the Punk Rock Saves Lives boards. I actually have my own board with them because an artist drew me as Swab Man a few years ago, a comic book artist, and it's me flying through the air with a giant swab. But Earth was great to make, and they've always been there. Clay and Jason with Earth skateboards, and then Jeremy Green, they're big, and Eli, and they've got these amazing skaters, and they're making a difference in the world, because not only are they a skate company, but almost every board they do has a charity component, and it goes to different charities, and we were lucky to be one of those, as well as Love Hope Strength was a benefactor of a lot of those too when I was still there. So it's really cool seeing all of this move to do good. But these jackets, we finally found a way to do one and keep it under $70. And that's with the embroidery and everything. And we thought that was pretty punk rock, except for obviously the giant sizes. I hate that they charge more for big sizes, but it's just simple, more fabric. So, we didn't add a lot. It was like $6 more for 3, 4, 5X or something like that. So, but we did have them available. And that finished actually just the other day. Before I came on with you guys, I was tabulating how many were pre-ordered, and then I'm going to get Dapples the count Monday morning and let him get to work on them. Bark away, pup. Bark.
They're crazy. I'm sorry.
No, we have 3 back here behind me somewhere. But dogs are an essential part of my life, and a lot of you might have met. I'm the guy behind Punk Rock Corgis, and Irk, before he passed away, did the whole Ozzy Osbourne tour with me. And he's done a lot of the Flogging Molly tours, and Harold was the secondary Punk Rock Corgi, and they would tour with me, and they wore a little battle vest while they were on, and they actually brought people to the booth. It was crazy. And if you want to dig around some, there's pictures of Irk in Ozzy Osbourne's hands. Ozzy loved him to death, and we just lost Irk a month and a half ago. He just laid down and went to sleep in the backyard. He was 10 years old is not old enough, but I guess he had such a big heart. That was all he had. But so yeah, what else can we talk about? Sorry.
We can talk about marrow or the bone marrow process? Like, so when somebody were to approach your booth now, what is it? Can you kind of run us through the process of what happens in case, like, I'm sitting here going, like, I don't know if I want to do this. Is this going to be painful? Am I going to die? Like, what's going on?
You just hit all the points right there. When we do a bone marrow drive, we work with our partner is DKMS out of New York. They are worldwide. They started as the German bone marrow database, and they were so successful in Germany that they started spreading to other countries. German citizens, 80% of German citizens are on the National Marrow Donor Program. Yeah. And you would be blown away how many bone marrow matches come from Germany. There's a lot of German blood in the Americas, obviously. But a lot of matches come from there just because their citizenship have a basic generosity or a kind of a air of giving that maybe we don't in America. Because when you look at Americans on the bone marrow database, anybody want to take a guess? What a percentage? How many percentage?
Probably embarrassingly low.
3%. So compared to 80% of German citizens. So, what we do is there's an eligibility placard on the table. There are eligibilities, unlike when you go to give blood, unfortunately. We do not care who you love. We don't care your sexual orientation. We don't care whatever. But obviously, like me as a type 1 diabetic, I can't donate. The synthetic insulin in my blood would be dangerous to the patient. So that's a rule out. And there's a list of rule outs, but you need to read those first and make sure you're good. And then we explain the processes to you. There's 2 ways to donate now. And everybody thinks house and horrible and how painful. That is TV, guys. That donation process is only 10 to 15% of the time now. And it is an outpatient, completely asleep surgery. The patient sometimes has to be awake, and that's why for marrow biopsies, and that's why it gets a bad name. It is painful, but you're asleep. While you're asleep, they place 1 to 6 needles in your hip bone. They're not small needles. I'm not going to lie to you. There's going to be a painful recovery, soreness like you got hit by a truck, but you're going to come back pretty quick. Most of us are back to work or back to life within 3 to 5 days. Some people can go right to it. It just depends on your personal pain threshold. And that's only if you match and make it to the end level. And to do that, most likely you matched a very young child. Direct marrow works better on a young child than the other process, which is 85% of the time now. It's his stem cell donation. And what they do is they give you a protein called filgrastim, also known as Neupogen. These are, one of them is the brand name and one of them is the generic name, and I don't know which one is which. But you get 5 shots of it. Now, it tricks your body into thinking you have the flu, basically. So you will feel fluish. You will feel, I've had people tell me it felt like their skin was tight. Basically, they're tricking your body into kicking extra stem cells into the bloodstream. And that's for 5 days. And then on the 5th day, they can cycle, or the 6th day, they can cycle the stem cells out of the bloodstream, very similar to donating platelets. I do platelet donation, and I have done the stem cell donation twice in the last 3 months. Now, I'm doing it for, Tina and I both had COVID. I'm sure you saw that on, and they're using my stem cells to help further the studies and everything to maybe help more COVID patients. But I've actually done it now, except for they didn't give me the filgrastim shots. I'm just donating the stem cells that my body's making itself. But you lay there in a bed and you watch TV, and they circle blood out of one arm through a machine. They take out just the stem cells and give you your blood back. for a cancer patient, a leukemia patient, an aplastic anemia patient, that is a 4 to 6 hour sitting in that chair watching TV. They can break it into 2 days if needed. If you're of like a smaller stature or something, they can make it. They go out of their way to take care of you because you're possibly saving someone's life. But that, it still has its, I don't want to make people think you're not going to feel any pain, because who knows how a needle feels to you? Who knows how the filgrastim shots feel to you compared to everybody else? But compared to what you're thinking, it's a lot simpler process to possibly save another human's life. And I can't think of a more punk rock thing to do. And we just got to announce, and you brought it up before we went on the air, that we signed up our own mental health, our own mental health advocate, Dan Falkenthal, at the last Warped Tour at Tinley Park in Chicago, or outside Chicago. I always laugh that that's the Chicago Warped Tour, because Tinley Park is nowhere near Chicago. It's
like
way
Toronto Warped Tour in Barrie. I got it.
It's really nowhere near. It's kind of like saying Camp Anarchy was in Columbus.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So but Dan signed up there, and we just found out 2 weeks ago that Dan matched a person and is giving the blood and everything and a second swab to see if he can make the next step towards donation. And, luckily I was involved with finding thus far 6,000 to 7,000 potential life-saving matches.
Wow.
with my 10 years with Love, Hope, Strength. But when it hit so personal that one of our own matches, it's a celebration, and we're hoping he gets to move forward. So
yeah, I saw when he did post and how excited and happy he was, and it's exciting watching it from our end to you guys, because it's kind of the culmination of your work. Rarely, I'm sure that you're signing people all the time, but you don't really see the person behind who's being matched or anything like that. But to have one that's actually on your team, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's amazing. I've had other friends match and a couple of what we called artists from Love, Hope, Strength. But having literally my little brother, for lack of better terms, matched. And so incredibly exciting, and just, it fills your heart up. And, the tough part is now, though, unfortunately, the first match is literally based on 10 to 12 markers on the DNA chain. Now they have to take it the next step and make sure that, to match him up even further. So I think it's called HLA testing, which is a little above my head in science, but they go much deeper to make sure that the person's body will accept and not reject and everything. And so we're in that waiting period right now. And Dan's like, well, I want to do it. And I'm like, I know you do, but we got to make sure, so they're doing everything right now. And we will definitely blow it up if he goes to donate, all of that. And I know what it looks like. And so I've done it without the filgrastim, but Dan's an amazing guy. He's in the Chicagoland area, guys. If you ever need anything, and he directly works with some of our partners like Hope for the Day, are based in Chicago, another amazing organization, mental health organization. And Dan works hand in hand with them a lot to build us some stuff. And hopefully in the next few weeks, we'll be announcing some relationships with some other mental health organizations that we've been working to build up. It's going to be really rad. Offering more and more.
I definitely follow Dan because his inspiration and his quotes and stuff like that, it definitely touches you in a very personal level. Like, it's never about, like, his quotes are never generalized about mental health. It's kind of however you internal that. You're okay. It doesn't matter what your day is and how it's going. You are okay, and this is about you. Because, yeah, mental health definitely involves the person whose mental health is being affected. And, the time that you guys are actually, like, putting behind that initiative, because, you know, often we do talk about mental health through the whole scene, but rarely do you ever see anyone actually provide you with the resources that you actually need to see somebody. It's, I don't want to say it's performative, because I do think that people care and want to see that help, but you guys are actually making those relationships to be able to provide that help for people, and that's fantastic.
Yeah, that's been a big goal. And Tina and Dan were talking the other day, and they came to the conclusion that there's so many amazing mental health organizations, but most of them concentrate simply on suicide and preventing suicide. We're trying to be you everyday mental health. And so we're offering, it's that if you're struggling, if you're thinking about suicide, my phone number is readily available on my Facebook page. Call me. If plain and simple, call me. If I don't answer, leave a message. I will listen. I will call you back. Through the pandemic, Tina and I both have taking some jobs. She's working for a nonprofit blood bank and helping recruit donors, hence why I donate so much. And apparently, I think I just got a job with Dr. Pepper. I might be driving a truck and delivering machines, not the actual drinks, but delivering machines to stores. So I will know. I've been offered the job pending background check and drug test, which I've done it all, so I'm not worried about it. But like if I'm at work and I can't answer, leave a message. Hold on. I will get back to you, or I will get someone to get back to you. We're there. We want to be there. We want to be your first step. And even if your first step is just simply asking someone to listen to you for a minute. I'm not a therapist. I don't know. I'm never going to claim to be a doctor, a therapist, anything like that. But I can be that first ear, and I can be that person that goes, hold on, let's get someone to you. Let's get you to someone. And we've done that, and we've done it behind the scenes with some friends, and it really is coming more and more this year is our goal to get Punk Rock Saves Lives can be your first step, and we will try to find someone, even if it's a teletherapy session, somebody to talk to you, somebody to start helping you with your struggles, whatever you need. And that can be, obviously there's alcohol, there's drug addiction, there's
marital, emotional, psychological.
Yeah, there's so much. Yeah, there's so many aspects to this that we can at least be that first step to go, hey, you want help with alcohol, and you don't want a 12-step or a religious program? Okay, we can move and find something like that. We have friends that have done that too. We've had guests on the PMA sessions that were all about that. And, David Rodriguez from the Casualties and Starving Wolves is so open and honest about his recovery from alcohol. It's gorgeous. And he spoke with us, and he's a dear friend. And I can actually text him and go, hey man, number one, how are you? But number two, what can we do to help send this person? Where's someone we can send them? And he'll give me ideas, and it's beautiful. And it's neat because it's somebody that somebody sees on stage or sees in a video or hears their album, and yet they have their struggles too. And so if, I can't say he could call you, but what if he did? What if he said, hey, Rob, give me that person's number? That could be that first step that we're talking about. You know what I mean? It's anything to help to take the emphasis off. It's, and to steal a line from, and we use it a lot, our friends at Hope for the Day, their big slogan is, it's okay not to be okay. And, My Chemical Romance had that song, and it's true. It really is true. I'm, like I said earlier in the thing, I'm a 50-year-old punk. When I was a kid, we were told to rub some dirt on it. We were told not to hug your dad. We were told not to tell anybody you loved you know. And one of my big pushes is to put myself out there and say it's okay to tell your platonic friends you love them. It's fine. Tell another guy, hey man, I love you. And it's not wrong. It's okay. And it's not, I'm not talking hippie stuff. And I get the punk hippie thing, but break down barriers. And, you know, punk rock is about being you. It's not how many patches you have on your jacket. It's not how many tattoos you have on your arm. Be yourself, you know, and being yourself and helping others. You know, we always say a lot that we subscribe to the Joe Strummer school of punk rock, and that is being kind is cool as fuck. You know, it's punk as fuck. And Joe was, you know, that's one of my deepest regrets ever in my life is I never got to see Joe Strummer live at the Clash with the Mescaleros, Joe solo. I never got to see that. Now I'm lucky that we talked about the Alarm earlier, that Smiley from the Mescaleros is now the drummer in the Alarm, and he was one of the drummers of the Mescaleros. But he and I have sat in a pub in Wales, and he gave me we talked Joe Strummer stories all night over a couple of pints, and that was one of the coolest nights of my life. And you know, I'm sitting there with the drummer of the Alarm, who was in the Mescaleros, and I'm just listening to these stories going, well, hell, you know. And I'm pretty sure in Travels that I stood on stage with both of you at that Camp Anarchy right there behind you.
You did.
You did.
I don't think we knew each other at that point, but I've actually looked at some of your pictures, and I keep going, I've got to be standing in that background because we were all there. And what's the young lady that has the no arms and no legs?
Tally, yeah.
I talked to her a million times that weekend, so I'm pretty sure you guys were around. So it's pretty fun.
I left backstage that weekend. To me, it was something I don't think I'm ever going to have a chance to do again. And, you know, if you're going to take some little girl from Northern Ontario and slap her somewhere, might as well be the backstage of Camp Anarchy because, yeah, it was such a cool experience.
It was really great. And for them to give us the charity as well as you guys, the access to be, you know, I did so much work that weekend with, you know, I don't know if you noticed, Strung Out came on stage, all of them wearing our Punk Rock Saves Live shirts. It was pretty rad. And Jason, actually, the funny part is that weekend, Jason, I went back to see Rob and everybody, and Jason was like, man, I've seen you at a ton of our shows, and I know you do something charity, but what is it? And I told him, and he goes, well, damn, let's go. And he walked out, and we have pictures, and I still have them. I need to move them over to our site too. But Jason and Ephraim from Death by Stereo and now the Voodoo Glow Skulls, both came out and actually signed up to be marrow donors that weekend. So punk rock saves lives. That's, yeah. You know, and but can I tell you my ultimate story that weekend? And it's so obscure that it might blow you away.
All right.
And this was the last Camp Anarchy, not the Punk and Drublic one, but the second one.
Yeah.
Near the end of the weekend, at the very end, NoFX had finished playing, and we all kind of ended up back there. I don't know if any of y'all did, but we were back there around the campfire by the what are those things called? RVs that they were using as dressing rooms. There was a campfire in the middle. We're all hanging out, and I'm sitting there talking to this guy with an Australian accent, and we're talking for a while. We're getting along. We're drinking beer, talking, having a blast. Because I work a lot at festivals, so I don't get to finally relax and have a beer till that last night. And we were going to have to stay the night and break the tent down the next morning. So I finally got to, and so we're hanging out back there, and this Australian guy and I are talking for a long time, and I'm like, "Oh, how'd you get here?" And he goes, "Well, we're friends with the guy that throws this, and he knew we were going to be in the country, so he just said, "Come over and hang out." And I'm like, "Well, cool. How do y'all know each other?" He goes, "Yeah, I'm in a band." And I was like, "What band?" And he goes, "Yeah, I play bass in Body Jar." And my jaw hit the floor. I was like, "Dude, y'all are like one of my favorite bands." And he goes, "What?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he goes, "Wait a minute, you know who we are?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I think a lot of people here would know who you are."
Yeah.
And he was like, so we sat there goofing off, and he was like, "Wait a minute, are you the charity that tours with our buddies in the Living End?" And I was like, "Yes." And so, and we try to do the American Living End tours when they come over, and do something with those guys. Because Chris from the Living End plays in when we were Love, Hope, Strength, Chris plays with Mike from the Alarm in a side project band called the Jack Tars. Check this lineup up. On guitar and singing is Captain Sensible from The Damned. On guitar and singing is Chris Cheney from the Living End. On guitar and singing, and they switch off who plays bass of these three guys, Mike Peters from the Alarm. And on drums, Slim Jim Phantom of so pretty rad combo.
That's like your like dream team right there.
Yeah, it's incredible. So we tour with Living In, but yeah, that was my little star moment. I mean, everybody else seemed to know me that weekend, which was really, really cool. When Fear walked on stage, and I'm standing there beside Lee going, and he's like, "Hey, you got one of those shirts for me?" And I'm like, "Yeah, what size?" But I'm like, holy crap, and the punk rock community is so open, and a lot of the Star Trip is out the door, and they dig it. And I actually left that Camp Anarchy and toured home with Bad Religion.
Oh wow!
Because I walked past and Jay goes, "Hey Rob, what are you doing here?" I'm like, "I got the booth out here." And he goes, "It's really weird, but we were talking to the tour manager about you last night." And I went, "What?" And he goes, "Yeah, and this is Jay being badass." He looks at me and goes, "Rob, we're tired of all the negativity and like crazy like politics of charities on our tour, and we want to do something good." And I brought up you to the rest of the guys in the band and our tour manager, and how badass is it you're here? And I went, "Holy crap." And he goes, "That's our new tour manager. He's our old tour manager, but he came back. Go over and introduce yourself." And I walked over and I said, "Hey, I'm Rob from Love, Hope, Strength" at the time. And he goes, "This is how fortuitous." And I went, "Yeah, unbelievable." He goes, "Do you want us, we're leaving here and going on tour. Do you want to join?" And I basically followed Bad Religion all the way home, and they let me introduce Dave House every night before he went on and tell the crowd what was going on with the Bone Marrow Registry. And we signed up another 1,000 people going home with them. And it just shows you the community of punk rock. It's a real deal. And
yeah, the community for punk, and it's really, we talked about this with Jason Hall on a show a couple weeks ago about things like inclusion and things like that. We're kind of part of the punk rock ethos before now, where it's really coming up front, and it's kind of like nice to see that evolution of punks too, where punks are starting to get it. They're starting, like right now, that community has been nothing but roaring and really all sticking together and helping each other out. Like Laura and I can easily speak to just a small aspect of that community and the reach out and, the appreciation that they've had for what we do, which isn't very much. Like, we kind of feel like we need to do more just to give. And, they're so grateful for it. And like, you're actually saving lives. I'm not even doing anything near that. So congrats to you for being able to,
But y'all are. Y'all are. It's saving lives is being there. You know what I mean? You're giving people a different hope than I can. I watch both of you. I watch what y'all are doing with launching Riot Squad now. I saw both of you. Laura runs her own sandwich shop, raises a awesome child. These are all without losing yourselves. You know what I mean? You're still giving people hope. It's a rad thing, giving inspiration, even though you might not think you are. You know what I mean? If I think some of our people in the punk rock community always wanted to tear each other down, and
Yes.
I think, and that's always going to be there. And there's people out there, I put up a picture a couple of weeks ago of two music notes that were people, and it said music keeps us together. And it was like the music note was up above, and that was their heads, and their bodies were below. And some guy grabbed it off my page and posted it and said, one of these ultra PMA sites is showing this. And to me, it looks like two people hung themselves. And I'm like, how bad do you have to be negative in the world to see something pretty showing music notes bringing life together, and then change it to seeing someone hanging? I mean, it's just, there's always going to be negativity. There's always going to be the school of people who think punk rock was nihilistic. And yes, the Sex Pistols were nihilistic. That was their scheme. That was their boy band thing. I'm not dissing them. They were a put together band, and it was the shock factor. It was built on New York Dolls. It was built on Alice Cooper. It was what became Marilyn Manson. Shock. And that was the whole idea. But then you had the Clash that were all about rights and equality. And that's all the same time. So the built thought process that nihilism, I just don't subscribe to. You can. I'm never going to tell someone to be way. I try to lead by my example. And if you don't like that, then so be it. And we all have our politics, and I know where I stand, but I don't try to force that down your throat. I know people that believe differently than me. I don't like the way they think, but it's not for me to say. I try to educate if I can, without being. I don't want to be that jerk. You know what I mean? But you can sometimes look at somebody and go, how the hell do you see it so differently? And listen, and maybe educate each other, be there. And that's what we're trying to push. And that's why, during the election, we put out our Make America Kind Again signs and stickers. And it wasn't saying that guy was wrong or that guy was wrong, or it was saying, hey, what happened to kindness? It's pretty amazing. I'm wearing a shirt that says One Love right now, and it's a friend of ours that was and a big supporter of Love, Hope, Strength, and he was so excited for the launch of Punk Rock Saves Lives, named Billy Bunting, and he was the lead singer of the official U2 tribute band called Under a Blood Red Sky. Tribute bands, not very punk rock, but Billy was one of those people that loved the world and was awesome and went out of his way to help you. He loved U2 and The Alarm, and they both had something to do with Love, Hope, Strength. And so he got involved with us based here in Denver. Well, unfortunately, a year ago, almost like last week, he had a surgery on his legs and went home from the surgery and went to sleep and never woke up. So we don't know why, or nobody knows. Something obviously went wrong or something, but his widow did these shirts, and we've pushed the One Love philosophy for a long time, not only from reggae, Bad Brains. Nathan Maxwell is a huge proponent of the One Love philosophy. Now, that doesn't mean he wouldn't get in your face if you were being a racist jerk or something. But One Love is trying to just lead by example and trying to forget the divisions that we have for we don't want any discrimination. We don't want any discrimination to sexual preference, to color skin, to ideology, except for pure racist. I'm in your face on that if I need to be. And but punk rock has all of these factions, and there's going to be that argument forever. But call us hippie punks or whatever you want to do, which we've had some of that, but I don't think anybody's ever said it to my face. So that's not bravado. It's just what it is. You know what I mean? We want to be there for everybody, and I'm going to lead by as much example as I can. And you guys are doing that. That's everything about it. Just the pure support that y'all give young bands, experience, bands, Bad Religion, 40 years, and you've been pushing so many awesome bands coming out. You've got an Avail album behind you, and I'm drooling over that because I don't have that on vinyl.
Wait till you see what it looks like.
Yeah, it is something.
It's beautiful.
I absolutely love that band. There's a Lagwagon behind you, Mariachi El Bronx. Yeah, Boston.
Oh, Laura's got.
We got a little
like your
collection.
posters.
What?
But I love the. I can't mention the Venomous Pinks enough. You both have. There's a poster and a shirt, so that's unbelievable.
We love them. They've got a spot in our heart. But I feel like we say that about so many bands, and it just goes back to building those relationships with people. We're drawn to the music. That's what brings us all together. But now let's make something more out of it. How can we help you get your music out? And we get that in return too. They're always like, oh, what can we do for you guys? And we're not asking for anything, but it is just that it's so humbling, that feeling of support and everybody coming together. And it really shows how amazing our community really is. And I love it. I love being a part of it.
It's unbelievable. I've made connections my whole life, and it led me to trying to change the world and in incremental ways that we can. And that might be just simply, Masked Intruder putting me on stage to make fun of me, but in a fun way. But then half of their fans going, oh, I need to check out what that table's doing because that guy was up there. And that's what's so badass about our community and our people and the people that are giving us those opportunities. So it's Punk Rock Saves Lives is still going to build those every day. Obviously, we're going to groom the next generation to take over as I get too old to do it. I'm never going to be too old, but this is something, Tina and I are considered the co-founders. But we've got Mackenzie Walters out of New Mexico, who is kind of our catch-all and helps us with bands, and she's on all of the PMA sessions with me. We've got Dan up there in Chicago. We've got Kramer. We've got Leland. So we've got every day we're going to grow this to not only advisors, and that we want to get to a point eventually where we can pay some people to be on the road all the time and we can pay some people to be giving therapy all the time. People, maybe we have a separate fund that we have. If you need help and you can't get it, maybe we have a therapist that does it on a sliding scale and we pay it for you. This is just ideas for the future. We don't have that yet, but we're working on it. And we've talked to some, and we're building that. And
the fact you're even thinking that is insane. Like, I'm in awe of really your work in all this, because it is rare, especially sometimes it's getting better in the scene, and definitely we are seeing that improvement. But to see like punk rock saves lives, and we say it all the time, punk rock saved my life, because it was always there. It was ever since I'm a teenager, probably 14, and like I'm a person who has suffered, addiction, mental illness, those things that, to me, punk was always there. And to see people now in the scene actually like showing up and like giving people these little tiny gifts. And sometimes it's just a couple words here and there, and just, keep going. You're okay. This is fine. I'm like that too. We'll get through this. It's phenomenal. And I really have to say huge kudos to you and the team to be able to do that and to keep doing that, because especially this year was not an easy year to do it. Like for you guys to be just say not even a year and a half in, and you guys are blowing up all over the place, and it really speaks to what you guys are doing. People are paying attention because people are feeling this, especially right now. So huge kudos again to you guys. You keep going. Like, it's fantastic. I love seeing everything you guys put out. I really do.
Yeah, there's no doubt that we're going to keep trying, keep bringing people in, and keep building on the ways we can help, and that's a pretty cool thing. So we're going to keep going. I'm
excited to see what you guys do keep coming up with, because once festivals come back, I will be the first. I don't know if you guys accept Canadians if I'm ever in the States, but I definitely will get swabbed for you guys. You guys are doing
well. We can't swab Canadians in the States, but you can do it, and it's free. It's completely free in Canada.
Nice.
Unfortunately, and we were fighting this, and they still are. The Canadians cut off the bone marrow registry at age 35. So if you're under 35, if you're watching this, I
think we just opened it up.
If you are under 35 in Canada, next time you're at your doctor, ask them to swab you for the National Marrow Donor Program. It is free in Canada. You just got to ask for it. America, we do it for free. Some places charge up to $100.
Wow.
Find us. We won't charge you. But do it. It's in America. You can be up to 55 years old, as long as you haven't turned 56. The UK, if you're in the UK, you can swab, I think, until age 40. We're fighting with them to go up to 55, and I think they are. But they also have done a step that we wish America would do, and they have come down to letting 16-year-olds instead of 18-year-olds. So there's give and take there. So look into that. It's still something incredibly important to me. We haven't been able to focus on it a lot this year. We do have it on our website. There's a link, and you hit it, and it'll send you a kit from DKMS and Punk Rock Saves Lives. You swab your own cheek at home, you mail it back in, and you're in the registry. So please do that. You can go right to punkrocksaveslives.org. Always do the org, and that, everybody remember that O. It's punkrocksaveslives.com will not take you to us. We wanted an org because we're an organization. So check that out. Get on the Marrow Donor Program if you haven't done it. I'm lucky to say I've signed up over almost 200,000 people with my 10 years with Punk Rock Saves Lives, and that's why it is making a difference. But even when you get a match, that doesn't mean you're donating. So get in there, give someone that first chance at life. It's pretty cool. And then also mental health. Reach out to us. We're there. You can go to the American Diabetes Association. They have a petition that we were doing live, but you can do it online to make insulin in America one cost instead of outrageous. But there's a lot of groups doing a lot of good, awesome people. But I will throw you guys, Mabel Syndrome, everybody that's offering women the ability to just be the voice, and that was big to us. I might have come up with this idea for Punk Rock Saves Lives, but I immediately wanted Tina to be the director. I don't have a problem being the face and talking, but she is the strong woman that gives me this opportunity. And we want to make sure equal rights, powerful women, giving everybody an amazing platform. We've had so many different discussions on the PMA sessions with gender roles and trans rights and women's rights and body positivity. And I mean, we can go on and on, and we're going to keep going on and on, trying to find out new things. This week, I don't know if this will air before Wednesday, but we're having an awesome two piece band from Denver called In the Whale. And if you've never heard In the Whale, look them up. Amazing band. They're going to be our guest this week, and we're just going to talk, what they've been doing during. And we've had a lot of awesome artists do that. Coming in the future, I've talked to Krista Makes. He wants to come on.
Nice.
And we got to figure that out. Andrew McMahon from Something Corporate, Jack's Mannequin. He wants to come on. We've just got to set the dates, and a lot more cool stuff coming. We've gone almost a year of PMA sessions, and it's always cool to ask some bands and everything. But this year I'm going for it. I'm going to ask some of the big bands. I'm just going to go. And what are they going to say? Oh, yeah or no, or, it doesn't matter. We're going to try, So
sometimes you just have to take the leap.
We're lucky to have amazing artists like Flogging Molly and Authority Zero and Descendants and all of these people in our kind of on our back pushing us, and they're great to us and everything. It's not a secret now, but Leland and I have been setting up a vinyl. We're going to have a Punk Rock Saves Lives vinyl coming out. It's not going to be digitally available. It's going to be vinyl only. A minimum of 500 copies in one color, and we have an agreement with the artist to at most do 500 more in a different color, but there will only be 1,000 of them when it happens. And the lineup is going to be insane. I can't really say any of them yet, but you're going to have a vinyl coming soon. We've got some cool auction pieces that have been building up. And then last but not least, because of all this, I'm actually in a band again.
Yeah.
I haven't been in an organized band since 94, maybe.
It's just like riding the bike,
But luckily, on that same last Flogging Molly cruise, I sang with our beautiful people of Punk Rock Karaoke. And when I was doing, I don't know if I did Sonic Reducer or Anarchy in the UK, but I did one of the two. And I walked off the stage, and the Faction, one of my favorite bands of all time, Steve Caballero, Adam Baum, Ray Stevens, all those guys, unbelievable skate punk band. Adam Baum from the Faction is standing there, and he is on the board of directors of our charity. And he looked at me and goes, "Rob, I've never seen you perform. We're putting a band together." And I went, "Okay." And that was the birth of These Roving Years, play on my nickname and a Flogging Molly lyric. And we rounded out the lineup with April Schumpman from Sniper 66 on drums, and Todd Daigle from King Rat and Pride Bowl on bass. And we've recorded, and we're just waiting on April to do some more backing vocals down there in Austin. But Austin's been real a COVID hotspot lately, and she's been a little afraid to go to the studio, and we obviously understand that. But when she does the backing vocals, it'll be mastered, and we'll have a 6-song EP out there for you, digitally and vinyl. And that's all on Adam's record label, IM Records. And that, if you haven't seen it, go order the new Faction. They went and recorded their 12 biggest hits in today's technology. So
cool.
They actually sound good, and the vinyl is available right now. So, and the vinyl's incredible. It's a open trifold with an amazing piece of art. And so yeah, the Faction Greatest Grinds. Check that out. It's really rad. And that's all on Adam's IM record label. So we got a lot of fun stuff happening because of all of this,
Yeah.
Hopefully it proves if you do good or try to do good things will come. And I'm not talking metaphysical. Yeah, I'm not trying to be hippy dippy, but it seems like people that make stuff happen are not people who are mean at making stuff happen. It's working together to make cool stuff happen. So.
For sure. And, on that note, unfortunately our time has come to an end, but what a fantastic way to end an interview, like chills. It's definitely probably, thank you so much for coming on. I know Laura can definitely, and I are so grateful to see somebody like you come in and want to make change, not so much in the scene, but with the people within the scene and beyond that. And that's fantastic. Thank you again so much for coming on.
I close our stuff every week with one love, up the punks.
Love it. Now, Laura, who do we have coming on next week?
So next weekend we are getting crazy and we have our Pittsburgh homies, the Filthy Lowdown, joining us. So I brace yourselves is all I have to say. We need to prepare ourselves too. So, but it'll be fun. Thank you again so much, Rob. It was really awesome. I'm like in a great mood now.
Well,
I feel like I needed that PMA session.
It's good for us all. It's good for the heart, the soul, the mind, the body. It's cool, do something. Go yell at your neighbor and make sure they're okay. Something little every day. So.
For sure. Well, Rob, again, we are so grateful to have you on. We are excited to see these compilations, possibly vinyls. We have a little cool show called Sunday Spin that, may find.
Oh yeah, we'll be spinning that as soon as it's out.
For sure.
We'll make sure a copy heads that way. So.
Thank you so much. All right, Rob. Well, thank you again. To catch his stuff, you make sure to go to punkrocksaveslives.org. Make sure .org. Get in there. Go donate, Meryl. If you're under 35 in Canada, you could just go to your doctor's office and do it for free. And hopefully we can see that go up to 55 because I'm not too far away from 35 and I've got all the Meryl.
Well, you can still, I'll preface that, you can still donate. So go get on the list. You can donate till you're 61, but they cut you off to the registry at 35.
Perfect. Well, we'll definitely go and check that out and hopefully can help save some lives. And Rob, again, thank you so much. And we will see you guys next week.
Cheers.